Imagine walking across a frozen ocean where one wrong step could mean death. There are no roads, no trees, and no landmarks, just endless white ice stretching in every direction. Now imagine surviving that journey and returning home to announce, "I reached the very top of the world." The newspapers celebrate you. The public calls you a hero. But then another explorer steps forward and says, "No, I got there first." Two men, two impossible claims. One mystery that historians are still debating more than a century later. In the early 1900s, reaching the North Pole was considered one of the greatest achievements imaginable. No one had climbed Mount Everest, the South Pole remained unconquered, and much of the Arctic was still unexplored. The first man to claim victory was Dr. Frederick Cook, an American explorer. He said that on April 21, 1908, he reached the North Pole with two Inuit companions, Apella and Etukishuk. But Cook didn't return home for months. He explained that drifting sea ice and dangerous conditions trapped the expedition, delaying his return to civilization until 1909. Before Cook could fully celebrate, another famous explorer made an even bigger announcement. Robert Peary, a U.S. Navy officer, claimed that he had reached the North Pole on April 6, 1909, alongside Matthew Henson and four Inuit companions. Suddenly, the world had two explorers claiming to be the first to stand at the top of the Earth. The rivalry quickly turned into a public battle. Peary called Cook a fraud, while Cook accused Peary of trying to destroy his reputation. Newspapers picked sides, and the race became one of the biggest controversies in exploration history. The problem was that neither claim had perfect evidence. Cook said his navigation records had been lost after being left behind in Greenland. When the University of Copenhagen examined the evidence he did provide, it concluded there wasn't enough proof that he had reached the North Pole. Peary's claim also raised serious questions. His final journey was reported at an incredibly fast pace, leading many later experts to wonder if it was physically possible across drifting Arctic ice. Even more importantly, there was no independent trained navigator with him during the final stretch. The official calculations depended almost entirely on Peary himself. Since the North Pole sits on constantly moving sea ice rather than solid land, proving your exact location was extremely difficult. For decades, Peary was widely recognized as the first man to reach the North Pole. But in 1988, renowned polar explorer Wally Herbert reviewed Peary's expedition records for National Geographic and concluded that Peary may have fallen short of the pole. Later studies have continued to debate whether he actually reached his claimed destination. As a result, many historians now consider both Cook's and Peary's claims to be unproven. Today, many historians consider the first undisputed surface journey to the North Pole to have occurred much later, when better navigation and stronger verification methods became available. That leaves one fascinating question still unanswered. Who really reached the North Pole first? What are your thoughts regarding this controversy? Comment below.